outcomes and health and human services outcomes for people leaving prison. And when the team comes, they bring their data sets. So they learned how to link data across tax, workforce, the correctional system, and health and human services to begin to understand what are the factors that contribute and really create a platform that could be used for analysis and evaluation. And Illinois has now licensed the use of this platform for 5 of its agencies on an ongoing basis. So you can do this too. If you gather people together who have successfully navigated these issues of how to share data, there's some central principles that always emerge. So first, you have to establish the clear benefits to the data owners. There's a couple ways to do this. One is to get to somebody really, really high up in the organizational hierarchy. Like if you can get the president or your agency head to see the value of doing this and tell you this is a priority, hey, you can make your boss happy. But the other way, because a lot of issues can't, penetrate the higher ups. So the other way to do it is to make sure that when you're asking somebody for data, you're getting in their shoes and you're saying, what would be the benefits here of bringing this data together where in addition to me getting something, I help you get something useful. So keep that in mind. The second thing is you have to put privacy and confidentiality at the center. Make sure you have a secure, foolproof solution. And when you do, you can get things through the lawyers. It may take a little while, but you can do it. So ultimately, everybody who has done this stuff has stories to tell. And we're going to hear some stories from this group. I want to share one story of something that I was involved in that has, I think, lessons for a lot of other areas, but it was kind of a big deal. So I worked on higher education programs for many years. And I'm curious whether you are familiar with something called the College Scorecard, which is now up on the Education Department website. Just show of hands, how many people know what that is? Okay. Not enough of you have kids about to go to college. So the scorecard is a place you can go and you can learn about an institution, some basic factors about whether it's a 2-year or 4-year college, what programs it offers. But there's a new piece of data that's on the College Scorecard for every school that participates in the federal financial assistance programs. And it is the average or the median earnings of students who were borrowers of federal financial aid 10 years out. So, you want to look at Harvard or you want to look at Riverside Community College. It'll tell you the average earnings regardless. And while that's now there for every school, for consumers and families to use, the impetus for that happened back in 2009, 2010. When President Obama wanted to crack down on unscrupulous trade schools who were charging exorbitant amounts of tuition, marketing their services to low-income individuals by saying, I'll get you a high-paying job, you just have to sign right here for this $30,000 loan. And they needed a way to distinguish who were the bad actor schools from the good actors, and they had a concept of debt-to-income ratio. Well, to get the answer to that by school, you needed to link the data that was in the federal student aid system with tax data on income and earnings. And that meant penetrating the IRS somehow. So I was involved in setting up a meeting with the White House, Department of Education officials, Treasury, IRS, OMB, where we went into that meeting with what we thought was a solution, which was requiring everybody who got student aid to sign a consent form saying they would agree to let IRS give the Department of Education the data needed to do this calculation. We got to the meeting, and the IRS guys said, no way, we're not giving you the data. But a creative Treasury official said, do you really need the individual data, or you just need the aggregate data, like the median earnings by school for students who attend? And it was an aha moment for everybody who said, oh, we just need the aggregate data. And it completely flipped the design of the data match, which allowed for a sustainable program where the Department of Education pushes their individual student data over to IRS, the data gets matched, and IRS produces aggregate statistics that can now be posted on the Education Department's website. There's no privacy issue. So I think the lesson from this is you gotta get in the room with people. You gotta work it through. You have to have a higher cause that you're both working for. And you can make great things happen. So we're gonna hear today from our panelists. And so let me do quickly. And you can see more extensive bios in your packets. We have Dolores. Help me with your last name, Dolores.
Acevedo Garcia.
Thank you. So she is from she's the director of the Institute for Child, Youth, and Family Policy at the Heller School at Brandeis University, and her research focuses on social determinants of racial, ethnic inequities in health, the role of social policies in reducing those inequities, and the health and well-being of children with special needs. We have Catherine Anderson, our private sector guru here. She's Senior Vice President of Policy and Strategy at United Healthcare for Communities and States. And there she spearheads